But first, we are breaking news out of the capital city. 13 people are charged, 11 are in custody after a 6-month investigation into drug trafficking.
Officials say 2 more people are expected to be arrested shortly. These arrests were the results of multiple early morning raids. Only our cameras were recording this morning as these raids took dangerous drugs and guns off the street.
So now they're coming in by land. And even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. You know, the land is going to be next. And we may go to the Senate, we may go to the, Congress and tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it.
School bus drivers were smuggling drugs while your children sat 3 feet away. For 3 years, 56 drivers across the Houston metro area transported cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl on school buses, the same buses that picked up your kids every morning. They hid drugs in compartments under seats where children sat, they made transfers in school parking lots while students boarded, and they endangered thousands of children daily for $670 million in cartel payments. Your child rode to school on a mobile drug warehouse. The FBI just arrested every single driver in the largest school transportation corruption case in American history. 67 pounds of fentanyl found in buses that transported elementary school students. And something agents discovered proves these drivers knew exactly what they were doing and didn't care that your kids were at risk. Subscribe to Truth America right now because this will infuriate every parent in America. Here's what happened. SafeRide Transportation was founded in 2015 as a private school bus contractor serving the Houston Independent School District and surrounding suburban districts. The company operated 340 school buses transporting approximately 28,000 students daily across Harris County, Texas. But in 2021, SafeRide's owner, Marcus Chen, made a decision that would turn his transportation company into a criminal enterprise. Approached by Sinaloa cartel operatives seeking transportation infrastructure in Houston, Chen accepted $12 million to allow his buses to be used for drug smuggling. His reasoning was simple and sociopathic. School buses are never searched. Law enforcement doesn't stop school buses. And the presence of children provided perfect cover. Who would suspect drugs were being transported alongside elementary school students? Chen recruited 56 of his 340 drivers into the conspiracy over an 18-month period. He targeted drivers with financial problems, criminal histories that hadn't appeared in background checks, or simply those willing to risk children's safety for money. Each driver was offered $40,000 to $80,000 annually, doubling or tripling their $35,000 base salary to transport drugs on their routes. The system Chen designed was shockingly brazen. Cartel operatives would load drugs into school buses at depot locations before morning routes began. Drivers would complete their routes, picking up children, transporting them to school, with drugs hidden in compartments beneath seats, in emergency supply boxes, or in the driver's personal bags. After dropping students at school, drivers would proceed to cartel transfer points, often parking lots of abandoned buildings, where drugs were unloaded. Afternoon routes worked in reverse, drugs loaded after school drop-offs, transferred during evening hours. The buses themselves became mobile drug warehouses. Mechanics working for SafeRide installed hidden compartments in 56 buses, beneath floor panels, behind wall panels, in modified luggage racks. These compartments could hold 30 to 50 pounds of drugs each. Children sat inches away from cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, completely unaware their school bus had been weaponized against their safety. Over 3 years, the 56 corrupt drivers transported an estimated $670 million worth of drugs across Houston. The operation averaged 340 kilograms of narcotics monthly moving through school buses. The investigation that would expose this grotesque betrayal began in April 2024, when DEA agents conducting surveillance on a suspected cartel transfer location observed something that made their blood run cold. A school bus pulling into an abandoned warehouse parking lot at 9:47 a.m. Well after morning school routes should have ended. The bus sat for 12 minutes. 2 men approached, opened the luggage compartments, removed several large bags, and left. The bus drove away. DEA immediately contacted FBI and Houston Police Department. If school buses were being used for drug transportation, children were in danger. The agencies formed an emergency task force combining FBI, DEA, ICE, and Houston police resources with one mission: determine the scope and shut it down immediately. Surveillance teams followed the bus back to SafeRide's depot. The driver, later identified as Thomas Rivera, worked the morning elementary school route for Oakwood Elementary. Rivera had transported 47 kindergarten through 5th grade students that morning. While those children sat in class, he delivered drugs to cartel operatives. FBI obtained emergency federal warrants to install GPS trackers on suspected school buses and conduct surveillance on SafeRide facilities. Over the next 2 months, agents documented a pattern that grew more horrifying with each observation. 56 different school buses made stops at non-school locations during or after routes. Surveillance captured drivers meeting with individuals later identified as cartel operatives. GPS data showed buses deviating from approved routes to make unexplained stops. Drop a comment below. Should drivers who endanger children while smuggling drugs face life in prison? What's the appropriate penalty for weaponizing school buses? And if you're not subscribed to Truth America yet, hit that button. We expose corruption that puts your children at risk. Subscribe now. In June 2024, FBI installed covert cameras at several transfer locations. The footage was damning. School bus drivers opening hidden compartments, removing drugs, handing them to cartel members, receiving payment, and driving away. In one video, a driver completed a drug transfer, then immediately left to begin the afternoon route, picking up children within 20 minutes of handling cartel cocaine. Financial analysis revealed the scope. SafeRide owner Marcus Chen had received $12 million in payments from cartel shell companies disguised as consulting fees and fleet management services. The 56 corrupt drivers showed deposits totaling $16 million collectively over 3 years, amounts impossible to explain on their salaries. Some drivers had purchased homes, luxury vehicles, and made lavish purchases completely inconsistent with a $35,000 annual income. But the most disturbing evidence came when FBI obtained federal warrants to search several school buses in July 2024. In bus number 247, which transported 52 elementary students daily, agents found a hidden compartment beneath the floor containing 23 kilograms of cocaine. The compartment was directly below the third row of seats, where 8-year-olds sat every morning. In bus number 189, agents discovered 18 kilograms of methamphetamine in a modified emergency supply box. The first aid kit label was still visible. Children had probably looked at that box daily, never knowing it contained poison. In bus 312, FBI found 67 pounds of fentanyl powder hidden in compartments beneath student seats. 67 pounds. Enough to kill every person in Houston 4 times over. And it had been transported on a bus carrying 41 middle school students. By August 2024, FBI had overwhelming evidence. 56 drivers, 56 buses, video surveillance of drug transfers, GPS data showing route deviations, hidden compartments in buses with drugs still inside, and financial records proving $28 million in corruption payments. Every day the operation continued, thousands of children were endangered. September 17, 2024. 5 a.m. FBI tactical teams coordinated with Houston Police and Texas Department of Public Safety for Operation Yellow Line Betrayal, the arrest of 56 school bus drivers and the owner of SafeRide Transportation before morning routes could begin. At precisely 5:47 a.m., FBI raided SafeRide's depot where drivers reported for morning shifts. Agents blocked all exits. As drivers arrived, preparing to pick up children in less than an hour, they were arrested one by one. Thomas Rivera arrived at 5:52 a.m., ready to drive his elementary school route. FBI agents met him at his bus. Thomas Rivera, FBI, you're under arrest for drug trafficking and child endangerment. Rivera's bus, the one he'd driven children on for 3 years while smuggling drugs, was seized as evidence. Across Houston, FBI arrested drivers at their homes. Some were still sleeping. Others were preparing for work. All were taken into custody before they could endanger another child. Not one drove a route that morning. At 6:30 a.m., FBI arrested Marcus Chen at his $4.2 million River Oaks mansion, purchased with cartel money while his drivers transported drugs alongside children. In Chen's home office, agents found ledgers documenting 3 years of drug smuggling operations, lists of the 56 corrupt drivers with payment amounts, and communications with cartel coordinators coordinating shipments. By 8:08 a.m., all 57 defendants were in custody. SafeRide Transportation was shut down by court order. Houston ISD and suburban districts were notified and scrambled to arrange alternative transportation for 28,000 students. Parents received emergency notifications that SafeRide had been shut down due to a federal criminal investigation, without initial details about the drug smuggling to avoid panic. But the full story broke by noon. News that school bus drivers had been smuggling drugs while transporting children sent shockwaves through Houston. Parents were horrified, school administrators demanded answers, and the community wanted accountability. FBI held press conferences at seized school buses, showing hidden compartments where drugs had been stored. Special Agent Maria Santos stood beside bus number 247 and addressed cameras. In this bus, which transported 52 elementary school children every day, we found 23 kilograms of cocaine hidden beneath the seats where 8-year-olds sat. The driver of this bus made that choice every day for 3 years. He chose money over safety, and he will spend decades in federal prison for it. September 18, 2024. Attorney General Pamela Bondi held a press conference in Houston alongside FBI Director Christopher Wray, DEA Administrator Ann Milgram, and Houston Police Chief Troy Finner. Yesterday, federal law enforcement arrested 56 school bus drivers and the owner of SafeRide Transportation for smuggling $670 million in drugs while transporting children. For 3 years, these individuals endangered 28,000 students daily. They hid cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl in compartments beneath seats where children sat. They made drug transfers in school parking lots. And they did it for money. We found 67 pounds of fentanyl in a bus that transported middle school students. These drivers didn't just break the law. They weaponized the trust parents place in school transportation to serve drug cartels. The charges reflected the severity: drug trafficking, conspiracy, money laundering, and critically, child endangerment. Federal prosecutors added special enhancements because drugs were transported in the presence of minors. Each driver faced 25 to 50 years in federal prison. Marcus Chen faced additional charges, running a continuing criminal enterprise, racketeering, and endangering children. He faced life in prison without parole. Parents filed a class action lawsuit against SafeRide Transportation seeking damages for the emotional trauma and endangerment of their children. The company was bankrupted within months. Faced with overwhelming evidence and the prospect of decades in prison, 48 of the 56 drivers accepted plea agreements within 6 months. They received sentences ranging from 25 to 35 years. At allocution hearings, several drivers apologized to parents and admitted what they'd done was unforgivable. 9 defendants, including Chen, went to trial in March 2025. Prosecutors presented surveillance footage of drug transfers, GPS data showing route deviations, photos of hidden compartments with drugs, financial records showing $28 million in payments, and testimony from cooperating drivers. The most powerful testimony came from parents. Mothers and fathers described dropping their children at bus stops every morning, trusting drivers to keep them safe, never knowing their kids were riding 3 feet from cocaine and fentanyl. One mother testified through tears. "I put my daughter on that bus every day. She was 7 years old, and the driver was transporting poison that could have killed her. How do I explain to her that the person we trusted every morning was working for drug dealers?" The jury deliberated one day before convicting all 9 defendants on all counts. At sentencing in June 2025, Marcus Chen received life in prison without possibility of parole. The judge's words were searing. "You took an institution parents trust, school buses, and turned it into a drug smuggling operation. You endangered 28,000 children for money. You corrupted 56 drivers and put poison on buses where children sat. You are among the most morally bankrupt criminals I have sentenced. You will die in federal prison." The 8 drivers who went to trial with Chen received sentences ranging from 40 to 50 years. None will be eligible for release until they are elderly. Houston ISD and surrounding districts terminated contracts with SafeRide and implemented new safety protocols, random inspections of contractor buses, GPS monitoring of all routes, background checks every 6 months, and whistleblower protections for employees who report suspicious activity. Texas passed legislation requiring annual criminal background checks for all school transportation employees, random drug testing, and enhanced penalties for crimes committed while transporting children. President Trump addressed the case during a speech on protecting children. School bus drivers in Houston smuggled $670 million in drugs while children sat on their buses. They hid fentanyl under seats where 8-year-olds sat. They endangered 28,000 kids for money. But we arrested every single driver, prosecuted them, and they will spend the rest of their lives in federal prison. Anyone who endangers America's children will face the absolute maximum penalty. The 56 school buses used in the smuggling operation were destroyed, cut apart, and crushed to ensure they could never transport children again. The images of yellow buses being demolished became a symbol of betrayal and accountability. The 56 drivers and Marcus Chen sit in federal prisons across the country, serving sentences that will keep most of them incarcerated until death. And the 28,000 children who rode SafeRide buses will grow up knowing that the adults trusted with their safety chose money over their lives, but that justice eventually held them accountable. If you believe Truth America is essential to exposing corruption that endangers your children, then like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. Share this with every parent who needs to know that even institutions we trust can be infiltrated. This is why we exist, to expose the betrayals that put kids at risk, the criminals who hide behind trust, and the justice that protects our children. This is Truth America, defending America's kids. We'll see you in the next one.